Hey, what's up you guys, this is Rob from Guy Plays, and tonight I'm gonna show you how to get the maximum damage out of Miasma when we do it raw. Okay, so I probably sound super exhausted, and that's because I have been playtesting all night. So, a quick disclaimer, the builds used in these are for demonstration purposes. The mods I chose to use were simply to prove a point, and no, I am not interested in your build. If I choose to make changes in mine, it will be due to my own playtesting. Thank you. Now, for those wondering, I'm going to keep this part very simple. If we're basing it off of miasma damage alone, yes, it does do less damage. However, the new mechanics added to miasma give it a much larger damage potential. The original miasma ends up dealing 1,875 points of damage, while the new version deals only 1,050 at its base, but has the potential to do 3,150, and that isn't even counting Malt's interaction or power duration's interaction. On that same note, minimum duration in Saryn is dead. Lowering duration does not consolidate damage, thus the less duration your ability has, the less ticks will go off, thus you will deal less damage. Very simple. So, this is my regenerative Malt build. I may tweak it, I may not tweak it, but this is what we're going to work off as our base. As you can see, when used against the level 100 Crawler, it does 4 ticks of 455 points of damage, plus an additional tick of about 206. I think it has something to do with the fraction of the duration, I don't fucking know, but it's always about 206, like 205, 208, somewhere there, so I'm rounding it up to 206. And this in total does 2,026 points of damage. Now just to prove to you that shortening the duration forks this whole thing up, slotting in a fully ranked fleeting expertise lowers the duration further, and if you take a look at the abilities menu, you can see the damage does not increase. But for the skeptics out there, let's take a quick look. We are now only dealing 3 ticks of 455 damage and 1 tick of 388. Again, I think it has something to do with the fraction. I'm not even going to deal with it. It's there, okay? Now, I did want to do a little bit of an experiment, so I swapped Intensify for Transient Fortitude just to see if the increase in damage but decrease in duration would affect it much. Taking a look at this, we are now dealing 3 ticks of 542 points of damage, plus a tick of about 340 at the very end. Fuck you, fraction durations. So this totals out to 1,966, which is actually less than if we had left in Intensify. Now personally, the damage loss isn't really super major, and sometimes the upfront damage is a little bit better, so I may end up running with Transient Fortitude. However, technically, Intensify does deal more damage. Now we're going to swap back to the original build so we can get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, so simply put, you will get a 100% damage bonus to Miasma if an enemy is inflicted with a toxin or a viral status. If an enemy is afflicted with both statuses, you will get a 200% damage bonus. So as you can see, a toxin proc from Venom Lash increases the 455 damage up to 910. After inflicting both the viral and toxin proc, the damage increases to 1,365 damage per tick. Now, via playtesting, there are a couple very easy ways to accomplish this. If you're in the mood for melee, you can turn Toxic Lash on and cast Venom on your enemies, then pop one of the spores, as Toxic Lash is guaranteed to, number 1, poison your enemy, and 2, pop a spore. In turn, a popped spore spreads to nearby enemies, inflicting them with a viral proc and carrying over the toxin proc from Toxic Lash. Cast Miasma and boom, max damage from statuses. The second method is what I refer to as the Malt Bomb, and doesn't require melee at all. First, cast Malt, then cast Spores on Malt. Once that's done, cast Miasma, which will cause Malt to detonate, which applies both the toxin and viral proc to surrounding enemies before the damage of Miasma is calculated. Note that I said it will apply the status to surrounding enemies. That means if an enemy is not within Malt's range when it explodes, it will not apply the statuses to them and not grant the damage bonus. Now, here's something they didn't quite explain too well in the patch notes. And to clarify, I don't know if this is their intention, but this is the way that it currently works. While Malt will apply the toxin status when it detonates as Miasma is cast, thus granting the status damage bonus, Malt itself does not add any damage unless it is damaged. So you have the potential to deal 200% bonus damage via statuses, and if any enemies have damaged a Malt in the vicinity, that will grant an additional bonus. Now clearly I'm not going to sit here and calculate that myself, but I can tell you that it scales with how much damage Molt has taken. So that pretty much sums up everything. Just make sure that your enemies have toxin and viral procs on them, and boom, you'll deal a shit ton of damage. If you want even more damage, make sure they hit your Molt. It sounds complicated, but really in practice it's pretty easy. Now I'm gonna get going because, like I said, I'm exhausted. But I will be back tomorrow with a Toxic Lash playtest. Hope this helped. I'll see you guys soon. Bye!